Let me ask you something. When you hear the word van, what comes to your mind? Probably something boring, something practical, something that carries tools, or kids, or packages. Not this. Because what you're looking at right now is something completely different. This is the GMC Ultra 666. And honestly, it shouldn't exist. A six-wheel luxury monster that looks like it escaped from a billionaire's garage. The kind of vehicle that makes people stop walking, pull out their phones, and say, "Wait, what is that?" And trust me, that reaction happens everywhere this thing goes. But before we step inside the madness, just look at it. The first thing you notice is the size. This thing is enormous. Longer than most SUVs, wider than a luxury sedan, and sitting on 6 massive wheels that make it look unstoppable. It's not just a vehicle, it's a presence. Then your eyes move to the front, and that's where things get serious. A massive GMC grille dominates the entire face, chrome everywhere, aggressive headlights glowing like a futuristic truck, and the bodywork? Sharp lines, wide stance, glossy paint that reflects everything around it. It looks expensive even when it's parked. But the crazy part is, this design isn't just for show, because underneath this luxury shell is something built for power. Pop the hood, and suddenly you realize this van has muscles. Right there in the engine bay sits a massive Duramax V8. And this is where the personality of the vehicle changes. Because now we're not just talking about luxury, we're talking about torque, serious torque. This engine is designed to move heavy machines, trucks, trailers, equipment. But here it's powering something completely different, a luxury fortress on wheels. And the upgrades don't stop there. Heavy-duty air intake systems pulling massive airflow, large aluminum intercoolers keeping temperatures under control, upgraded turbochargers forcing power through the system, high-flow cooling setups making sure everything runs smoothly. Everything in this engine bay says the same thing. This thing is built to move, and when it does, it doesn't creep, it commands the road. But here's where things get interesting. Most vehicles choose a personality, performance, or luxury. This one decided, why not both? Because the moment you walk toward the driver door, you start realizing something unexpected. The door itself feels heavy, solid, premium, like opening the entrance to a luxury suite. And when it swings open, that's when your brain needs a second to process what you're seeing. Because suddenly, you're not inside a van anymore. You're inside something that feels closer to a private jet. Soft leather everywhere. Diamond-stitched seats that look like they belong in a Rolls-Royce. Carbon fiber trim flowing across the dashboard. Gold accents catching the light. And ambient lighting running through the cabin like glowing veins. But the detail that really stops people is the ceiling. Look up. Instead of plain fabric, you see what looks like a night sky. Tiny lights spread across the roof like stars, creating this surreal atmosphere that instantly makes the cabin feel special. And for a moment, you almost forget this is a vehicle. But then you sit in the driver's seat, and everything snaps back into focus. Because despite the luxury, the layout actually makes sense. The steering wheel sits perfectly in front of you, wrapped in soft leather with metallic controls. Behind it, a digital instrument cluster lights up. Speed, navigation, driving information. Everything placed exactly where your eyes expect it to be. No distractions, no gimmicks, just clean design. Then your attention moves to the center console, and this is where modern technology shows up. A large infotainment display sits in the middle of the dashboard. Crisp graphics, navigation maps, vehicle systems, media controls, but importantly, it's positioned below your line of sight, which means you can glance at it without ever losing view of the road. And speaking of the road, look through the windshield. That's another moment that surprises people, because with all the futuristic design, the view outside is still completely clear. Wide glass, huge visibility, the highway stretching out in front of you. mountains in the distance, sunlight pouring into the cabin. And suddenly you realize something. This isn't just a showpiece. It's actually built to drive. Comfortably, confidently, effortlessly. Now reach down to the center console. Your hand lands on something unexpected. The gear selector. But this isn't a typical gear lever. This thing looks like a piece of jewelry. Crystal finish, metal base, surrounded by perfectly machined controls. Even the cup holders feel premium. Every surface you touch has been designed to feel expensive. And the deeper you look, the more details you discover. Hidden storage compartments, soft touch panels, precision stitching across every seat. Even the door panels feel like they belong in a luxury hotel. And remember, we're still just in the front seats. We haven't even explored the rest of the vehicle yet. Because what's hiding behind this cockpit is where the GMC Ultra 6X6 really starts to shock people. And that's exactly what we're about to step into next. But before we go there, take one last look at the driver's seat, because this is where the entire experience begins. You're sitting high above the road, surrounded by technology, wrapped in luxury, controlling a machine that looks like nothing else on the street. And the strange part? After a few minutes, it starts to feel normal. Like this is exactly how driving should feel. But trust me, what's waiting behind these seats takes things to another level completely. And that's where this story gets even crazier. So you've just sat in the driver's seat. The steering wheel feels perfect. The dashboard looks like it came from the future. The engine under the hood is ready to move mountains. At this point, you're already impressed. But here's the thing most people don't realize. The front seat is only half of the story, because the moment you step out, walk around, and open the rear doors, that's when this vehicle starts to feel unreal. The doors swing open slowly, and suddenly the entire space behind the cockpit reveals itself. And the first reaction most people have is the same. Wait, this is inside a van? The interior doesn't look like transportation anymore. It looks like a luxury lounge. Soft lighting lines the sides of the cabin. Premium panels wrap around the walls. Everything feels intentional. Everything feels expensive. And the space, that's what shocks people, because this thing is huge inside. Enough room to stretch out. Enough room to relax. Enough room to turn a road trip into something that actually feels comfortable. Now imagine sitting back here while the vehicle is moving. The road noise fades away, the suspension smooths out the bumps, and you're surrounded by soft materials and ambient light. This is where the GMC Ultra 6X6 stops being a vehicle and starts feeling like an experience. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Because builds like this are rarely standard. Most owners customize them, and that's where things go from impressive to completely insane. Some versions add reclining captain chairs, not normal seats, seats that stretch out like airline business class. Others add entertainment systems across the walls, large displays, premium sound systems, private cinema setups, and then there are the builds that go even further. Mini bars, champagne coolers, custom lighting scenes, even workspace setups for people who want to run meetings on the road. At that point, you're not riding in a van anymore. You're riding inside a moving luxury suite. But the most surprising thing about all of this, from the outside, nobody expects it. To someone driving next to you on the highway, it just looks like a large vehicle, maybe a custom van, maybe something expensive, but they have no idea what's inside. And that's part of the appeal, because when vehicles like this show up somewhere, they instantly attract attention. People walk around them, look through the windows, try to figure out what they're looking at, and once they see inside, that's when the reaction hits. Shock, curiosity, and sometimes disbelief. But there's another side to this vehicle that people forget. The driving experience. Because six wheels aren't just for looks. They add stability, extra traction, more control at highway speeds, which means despite its size, the vehicle actually feels surprisingly composed. The suspension absorbs rough roads. The weight keeps it planted. And the long body glides smoothly across the pavement. It's not trying to be a sports car. It's trying to be something better, effortless, comfortable, commanding, and honestly, it succeeds. Now imagine cruising down an open highway at sunset, the sky glowing orange, music playing through a premium sound system, passengers relaxing behind you, and the road stretching endlessly ahead. That's when you understand the purpose of something like this. It's not just about transportation. It's about presence, about arriving somewhere and people noticing, about creating an experience every time you drive. And that's exactly why vehicles like the GMC Ultra 6X6 go viral online. Because they break expectations. They look too wild to be real, too luxurious to be practical, too big to make sense. But somehow, they exist. And the moment you see one in person, you realize something. Photos and videos don't fully capture it. You have to stand next to it, walk around it, sit inside it. Only then does the scale hit you. Only then do the details make sense. The stitching, the materials, the lighting, the engineering behind it all. And suddenly, that simple word, van, doesn't feel accurate anymore. Because this isn't a van, it's a statement. A rolling showcase of what happens when someone decides to build something without limits. More wheels, more luxury, more presence. And whether you love it or think it's completely over the top, you can't deny one thing. The GMC Ultra 6X6 is unforgettable. Now the real question is this. If you had the chance to drive one, would you? Or would you still choose something normal? Because after seeing something like this, normal starts to feel a little boring. And maybe that's exactly why vehicles like this exist. To remind us that sometimes going too far is exactly the point.